Also, I'm the chair of the Benzie County Democrats, and glad to have you here. And a couple things going on. Oh, okay, great. So before we do anything else, we'll start with the pledge. Okay, so let's do the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge
Pledge
allegiance
allegiance
to
to
the
the
flag
flag
of the
of the
United
United
States
States
of
of
America and to the
and to the
republic
republic
for
for
which
which
it
it
stands,
stands,
one
one
nation,
nation,
under
under
God,
God,
indivisible,
indivisible,
with
with
liberty and
liberty and
justice
justice for
for
all, someday.
someday. Thank you.
Someday.
All right. So again, welcome. It's great to have you all here. If you could your microphones, it would be very helpful as we move forward here. Um, and first, as 2022 begins, really want to thank everybody who helped us out this past year, whether working on the student scholarships or helping set up for our big country brunch. Remember that? That was big fun. Calling folks about decline to sign, or writing donors about Jack Bergman, working as a township or county lookout, writing letters to the editor, or helping spread the good word on our Three Witches party or our Comfort and Joy open house. We did quite a lot in 2021, which is supposed to be an off year. It wasn't. So now it's 2022, and my fervent hope really is that all of us will do everything we can to stay positive this year. There are lots of pundits and naysayers out there telling us we're doomed to big electoral losses and all the rest. Please ignore that. They're just trying to keep you worried so you'll tune back in and see how the crisis is going. It's really what most of it is about. So please resolve to work hard starting now on this ridiculously important election we're facing. We know what Republicans are up to, and we need to make sure our neighbors know they are attacking democracy. But it's even more important to tell folks what we stand for and what we've accomplished in Michigan and in Washington, against all odds, really. We've got plenty to be proud of, plenty to run on, and what we do need now is just to see how true that is. We need to see that and then act on it. So listen, everybody can do something to help, and today you'll meet some great people who are either working on Benzie Dems projects, with more to come soon, or running for office. And I also have to say it's a great honor to work with so many committed, caring, generous people. Thanks for all you are doing. It makes it a lot easier for me and others, I'm sure, to get out of bed in the morning and face the situation we're all in when we know we're working on stuff together. So let's stick together, let's stay strong, and let's work hard to win this year, okay? It's going to be a hell of a year, and we'll all need each other. So don't forget that. Okay, next up here. I wanted to just show you. Here is our. Um, should I even bother with this? Yeah, I should. Okay, great. Here we go. Here's what we've got lined up for today. Kira's going to have a candidate recruiting report. We'll talk about the redistricting, the letter to the editor project, the results of the Comfort and Joy event that we did, some decline to sign updates, and then we'll meet Betsy Cofia, and then introducing our prospective state Senate candidate, Terry Sabo. And then we'll hear from Congressman Andy Levin. So it's going to be a great meeting, and we're going to move it right along, starting right now. So Kira, could you please talk to us a little bit about the candidate recruiting project that we're working on?
Sure. Okay, so we have a committee, a candidate recruitment committee, and we have been working really hard to shake the bushes in Benzie County for some good Democratic candidates for both the Board of Commissioners and the school boards, our two school boards. And so we really got to it in December and had 5 meetings with people in the county who know people, who know what's going on, who have their there are feelers out there all the time. And so we talked to probably 20 people and got their ideas. We have now a list of close to 50 names of people. Many of them will, of course, not want to run, but we'll ask them. So we have about 50 names of people to talk with and see if we can encourage them to run for these positions. We think we have at least 2 candidates for school board in each of the boards, Frankfurt and Benzie. And so that we're on it now to really try to get as many candidates as we can. So that's that. We've been working hard.
Okay. Thank you, Kira. And I'll just add, we'll never elect Democrats if Democrats don't run.
Mhm.
You know, that's really true. And please think about running. It's not awful. We're here for you. We'll help you in any way you can, any way we can. And we've got resources. We've got great data. We've got teams ready to go out and reach out to people. And we really want to help you if you want to run. Okay. So it's right now it's school board and it's county commissions. And we're still looking for a representative candidate for our new, not necessarily improved district. Wait till you see it when Chris shows you that. So anyway, please do that if you can. Please think about running. We don't get Democrats in office if they don't run. It's pretty simple. Okay, now speaking of redistricting, Chris Kitzman has been our real redistricting guru for quite a while, and probably you all remember we've been emailing our tail to you in November and December saying, please, please, please go to the redistricting commission portal and put in this comment or put in that comment or call these people. And y'all responded. This was all over the state. And we ended up with a new set of district maps that are much more fair than they used to be. They're not totally great. There probably isn't any such thing, but there's been a huge improvement. And you folks that were calling and writing and going to the meetings and stuff, you were the folks that helped make that happen. So thank you. Chris?
Thank you. Am I ready to share, Jim?
Oh, I'm sorry. Let's see.
That would be good.
I have to find.
I know I'm speaking to the informed, which is wonderful, but we'll go just quickly through these maps. As most of you, I'm sure, are aware, the redistricting committee, after really 5 years in the making, wrapped up at the end of December and chose 3 maps by bipartisan vote. Hear that again, bipartisan vote. It was on the first round of voting. And I can't imagine what behind the scenes stuff went on, but it's all right. That's how it came out. They didn't have to go to ranked voting. They didn't have to go to some of the other options that they had. These maps will take effect in 22, so we're rocking and rolling on them. And I'm just going to really quickly show you these 3 maps. So let's just see where this is.
I'll tell a few jokes while you're figuring it out.
Yeah, tell a few jokes because I've got to just get a different view going here.
I would
Hi,
like
Jim, where are your
to.
jokes?
I would like to point out that we have a guest here today that we don't see very often. Kathy Ralston is here today, a former Benzie Dems chair. Here she is. So everybody say hi, Kathy.
Hi,
from
Kathy.
Detroit.
Hi, everybody.
Please here. I haven't seen her
Mike.
for a while.
Glad you're here.
Yeah.
Nice to see everybody. Very nice.
You still living in Midtown?
I live in the Bagley neighborhood, 7 in Livernois,
Oh, okay. All right. Moving up
across
town.
from your alma mater.
Yeah, man, that's great. Okay, Chris.
So Jim, I am just running a little problem on the screen sharing. Can you move on? I had everything open on my screen, but right now it's not. So I need to just go dig a little bit and I'll be back to you in a few minutes. I'm really sorry about that, but.
Okay. Well,
Wait a minute, back up. I just found it again. Okay, let's see if this works. Except I'm not sharing at the moment. Okay, here we go. This is the Chestnut map. And we'll try and get it a little bigger
Oh,
here.
nice. Yeah, that looks good.
Yeah, is that good enough to see it right now?
Yes, yes.
Okay. The colors are not good on this, and I can zoom a little bit, but so this is the new congressional map. And as you see it, it's the pink, it's the entire UP. It hasn't changed a lot. We can zoom in a little here and you can see that Benzie is the lower west quadrant of it, and then it goes all the way across the state. Didn't used to do that. It drops down in Aranac. Dr. Bob Lawrencer, who will be running against Jack Bergman, will be trying to contact all of these people in what turns out to be 44% of the state, if you can believe it, covered by that map.
Wow.
So that's at a quick little shot. On the Senate side,
Population, 44% by population?
No,
you know,
land
that's a good
area.
question. I think possibly geography, Barry,
Okay,
but
thank
yeah,
you.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously it is geography. This one you can't see. This is the new Senate Linden. It's again, the colors are a little tough on this, but you can see the distinction. If you look really closely, it runs now. It used to run across the state all the way over to Roscommon, but now it runs Benzie, Manistee. This is the Senate 32. That's what that 32 is, a new number. Down Mason, down Oceana, and most of Muskegon. There's a little bit of Eastern Muskegon over here, right here, that is not in that map. But the redistricting group heard very clearly that the communities along the coastline wanted to stay together, that they had common interests. And so that's that group. And you'll be hearing more and perhaps seeing this map again later from our new candidate. This is one of the most fair maps of all of these. I think we've got a really, really good chance. It's an interesting new Senate seat. And I think that it has, our earlier one was a very GOP friendly district with Kurt Vanderwall at the helm, so to speak. This one I think has a really great chance for us to flip. So that's just really good news. As Jim said, a lot of this across the state, these are a lot more fair. This is a good district.
Chris, is Wexford also in this district?
No,
Well, there's a color
no,
change
it's
there.
hard. That's what I was saying. That is actually a different color, but it's hard to see. The color
Yeah,
switches
when
right
you blow
here
it up, it
from
shows
green
the- Yeah.
to blue, green to blue, green to blue. And I don't have any
Oh.
controls over the color.
Okay.
So that's the Senate, and I think you'll hear a little more about that.
Is
let's-
Leelanau County in this district?
No,
Mhm.
no. It is in the House district, which we're looking at right now. And this, I'll make it a little smaller so you can see the whole thing. We are in the new 104th, which runs from Benzie down to Manistee, and I'm going to show you this a little bit more. It goes through Grand Traverse, Kalkaska, and Antrim. There's a new 103rd, which does include Leelanau and Grand Traverse. Okay, so let's take a look a little closer at those edges. In the 103rd, it turns out that because they now have Platte Township and Elmira Township out of Benzie included,
Oh,
that is now, so Benzie is sharing
right.
our Platte folks and our Elmira folks and giving them away to the 103rd. What that means for the 103rd is that Jack O'Malley, who lives in Elmira Township, will be running in the 103rd now. We've lost him, they've gained him. Betsy will be telling us a little bit more about that in a few minutes, which is a wonderful thing. But the 103rd looks like a very, very flippable district for the Dems. I think it's great. And she's going to give old Jack, it's complicated O'Malley, a run for his money.
Yeah.
Not such good news for the new 104th, because as you can see, it's the rest of Benzie. I'm going to drop down. It's Manistee,
West, east side.
but the east side of Manistee. So it actually goes down to Onekama over here, and Bear Lake is down in here and drops on that part. The west side of Manistee is in the district to the south. So they've got Manistee City and all of those other townships. Then we pick up now, so keep in mind, Benzie is split, Manistee is split. We have the top 4 townships in Wexford. We have the bottom of Grand Traverse, which is hard to move on the screen, sorry, with the exception of that top little group. And that's significant because the person who's currently representing that Grand Traverse is John Roth for the House. He lives in East Bay. He's planning to move about a half a mile south so that he can run in the 104th. So when we field some dynamic candidate, they'll be running against that person. All right, and then we have a little bit of Kalkaska and some of Antrim. What that means is it's a very strong House GOP district, very strong Republican district, and it's going to be a tough sell. In a nutshell, those are what we're looking at. And if you want more, I'll in a few minutes here put in these links to these maps and you can look on yourself.
Thank you.
Yep.
Thank you, Chris. That's great. We should move right along. I'd like to take some
sorry.
questions, but we gotta keep the pace going here. So next up here, Jane, could you tell us about how the LTE project is doing? I hear we have some new people and things are going on. Go ahead.
Hi, so one of our projects is a coordinated messaging effort amongst the current 101st. So every Monday we get messaging from the Michigan Democratic Party. We get messaging for events at the state level as well as at the federal level. And then on Monday afternoons, I Zoom with representatives of the 101st, and together we decide what we want to focus on. And then we all kind of spray off to our own counties. And for Benzie, Rick Rhodes is the connection, and he coordinates all these letter writers. So after our meetings on Monday, I send Rick information. This is what we discussed. This is our theme.
Get up here and lay down.
With some links of resources, so you don't have to spend all your time researching. And then Rick gets his writers, whoever's up that week, shares the messaging with them. And then the letters are always put up onto our Facebook page as well. So you can only write most of the papers 1 letter every 30 days. Well, we now have so many writers that the writers only have to write once every 2 months. We could always use more if people are interested in helping out. But so far it's going really well. Unified message, repetition, repetition, repetition. Thanks.
That's
And
great.
this is Aubrey. I just want to add real quick that you guys, last year we had 64 letters to the Record Patriot, 15 letters to the Record Eagle, and 50 letters to the Northern Express, and 37 of those were individually published there, but 13 were also published in the Record Patriot. So that's pretty great. Keep it up.
Wow,
Let's try
that's
to beat it.
amazing.
Let's try to beat it
Holy-
next year.
Holy cow. We be rocking it. Cool. Thank you, Jane, very much for that. Jane's been working on this project for quite a while, so we really appreciate your help. So next up here, we did a great thing back in December, and we haven't really talked to y'all about it since it happened. So I'm going to invite Gretchen Swanson, who is one of our newer members, this is one of her first events she participated in, to give her impressions on the Comfort and Joy thing.
Great. Well, thank you. Can you hear me okay?
Yes.
Great. Well, thanks for asking. And Doug and I both really enjoyed it. And thank you to everyone who did all the organizing of who was going to do what shift and the great decorating. I thought the tree out front had been there the whole time. And it really was great. We did it for a couple hours. We met some folks that said they had heard about it. They saw an advertisement, great conversations with a couple of folks like ourselves that were newer, trying to figure out how we could be more involved. And I think what we really enjoyed about it was, meeting a lot of you that we've only seen on Zoom, but also it felt like we were doing something. And I'm sure you all felt the same way, that it felt good to do something. But lots of discussions about how expensive diapers are, and a lot of people who haven't bought them in a long time were shocked. And it had some really great conversations that really spurned from something so positive. So we appreciated it, and count us in for other events like that. We felt like it was a great way to show action. Thank you.
Gretchen, it was a pleasure to welcome you and your husband to this. It was great to have you both there. And we really look forward to working with you all and all the other folks that are coming into the party these days. We do a lot of great different things. And it's all so that we can unify and get together and know each other better and feel like we're not the only crazy person in Benzie County when it comes to politics, you know? Okay, so thank you. And I'll just say to cap that we raised $2,200 in cash for the baby pantry, $2,500 in cash for the Benzie Food Network over in Honor, and literally a pickup truck full of diapers and stuff for the baby pantry, and another pickup truck full of food for the food pantry. They were both organizations, St. Philip's and the food pantry, were completely blown away by what they saw. So we should be proud. Thank you all for responding the way you did. It was quite something to see. Okay, next up, we're going to ask Chris back in to talk just a little bit about Decline to Sign. Chris?
Sure. We did a virtual phone bank as a sort of a pilot program in November and December. We had 6 callers. They made about 200 calls. Of those, they actually had a contact with about 120 voters. These were leaning and strong Dems. 40 some of them we actually had great conversations with. The rest we were able to leave messages. And the message was this nasty petition on Secure My Vote. If you see it, report it, don't sign it, tell your friends and family. So we're revisiting that. We thought that was successful. All the callers said they talked to people who either didn't know about it and they were glad to hear, or they did know but wanted more details so they could share it. We are looking at repeating that. We'll figure out what the new script will be because there are now 3 petitions circulating. That one's still going. Unlock Michigan, which is going to limit pandemic regulations, and one called Let My Kids Learn, which is a tax credit scholarship funds. It's very voucher-like. So we're going to be having a powwow about whether to group those, how we're going to do that. But if you're inclined at all to sit and make a phone call, you sit in your easy chair with your cell phone or your landline, you plug into your computer, you get a name, a number, you make the call, you've got a script, it's easy, it's reportedly quite rewarding from everybody who's done it. And we will need at least a dozen callers. Right now we've got 8. So let me know in the chat if you want to join us, and we'll hear more about it later. And Jim, we're back on schedule.
Thank you, Chris. Barry's here to throw us off schedule. Barry, what you got?
That's my goal. That's my role here. I know this was asked last meeting, but any petitions coming from the Democratic side yet that we're aware of?
No, there is
Okay.
some work on one going on that I am just vaguely aware of, but
Okay,
not at the moment. No.
thank you.
Yeah,
There
sure.
is an ACLU reproductive freedom petition
Right.
that would enshrine abortion rights in the Michigan Constitution.
There you go. I knew I heard
Oh,
something.
good. I didn't know that.
And it will
Yes,
actually go to the ballot because we live in a democracy.
Right.
What a concept.
Bring them
Thank you,
out.
Barry. Thanks a lot.
Thanks.
Okay, moving right along here. It's time for our first guest, Betsy Cofia. She's a Grand Traverse County resident. She's a community activist. She operates her own political consulting company and is currently a member of the Grand Traverse County Commission. She's run for State House 3 times in the past in a decidedly red district, a very brave and good thing to do. But as we've just seen, she's now in a fairly balanced State House district and will officially declare her candidacy next week. I believe it's Tuesday. She's worked as a domestic mediator, a classroom and community garden volunteer, and as a committee member and volunteer for the Traverse Bay Children's Advocacy Center, and also she's a member of the American Association of University Women. There's more, but that's enough. Please welcome Betsy Cofia, everybody.
Thank you all. And before I get started, I want to model what the campaign is about by hearing from constituents. So I'm really thrilled that the Daniels Mill family have agreed to do just a very brief, make a really brief statement, and then I will get started. So I will hand the mic over to you all.
Thank you. Thank you, Betsy. So I'm Nadia Daniels-Maley.
And I'm Sonia.
And before we talk about the amazing Betsy, we quickly want to claim a little bit of fame in Benzie. It's really good to see Aubrey Parker, Barry Hahn, and Amy here, because together with the voting ambassadors, we rallied the 18 to 29 voters last election. So if you guys want to know more about that work, Aubrey has all the data on that.
And now we want to rally the Gen Zs, not only in Benzie County, but in Traverse County and Leelanau County, to vote for Betsy.
Because Betsy had our back. She listened to us and even gave us the opportunity not just to see, but to work at a Bernie Sanders event when we were 15 and 11. When most people, it was pretty great. But when most people think that there's no value in getting not able to vote kids involved in elections, others put us on their shoulders, invite us to the front, and even give us the mic, like today. And Betsy's ability to engage us and give us agency at such young ages has really given us ownership. So now I'm going to pass the mic to Sonia.
This year at 18 and 21, we both get to vote. I've been waiting for this year my entire life. Really excited. But Betsy had our backs, and now we're excited to have hers. And we're going to have Betsy's back.
Sonia and I want to leave you all with something, an action, a request from Gen Z.
Make sure there's an independent or Democrat in each race on every ticket, so we have someone to vote for. And like Betsy, please run for something.
So thank you so much, Betsy, for giving us the mic. And we want to see every one of you guys at the launch event on Tuesday.
Oh my goodness, thank you both so much. Yeah, thank you. And thank you, Benzie Democrats, for the opportunity to be here this morning. As you heard, I'm Betsy Cofia. I am running for state representative for the 103rd, which includes Platte and Elmira townships in Benzie County, as well as half of Grand Traverse County and all of Leelanau. But I want to make clear, just as I do as a county commissioner here in Grand Traverse County, my job is to represent my entire region. So I hope you know that if I am elected and sent to Lansing, I will work for all of Benzie County and all of Northern Michigan. And I'm running because I believe when we work together, we create a Northern Michigan where each of us and our neighbors have a life with dignity and opportunity, because that's what each of us deserves. I am a two-term county commissioner in Grand Traverse County, and Jim talked about my resume, but I have a background in community journalism. I'm a former newspaper editor, as well as a social worker. I was a Head Start social worker in Benzie, Leelanau, and Grand Traverse County, and I worked with 5 local child cares and dozens of local families in that role. Personally, I grew up in a blue-collar community in rural Kalkaska County, and I learned my work ethic from my mother. Her name is Linda. Ever since I was a young kid, my mom has cleaned houses, and my first job at age 11 was helping her clean a lot of beautiful lakeshore homes here in Northern Michigan. My mom is the hardest working woman I know. She's still cleaning. She's in her 60s now. But I grew up in our family where we often couldn't make, like many families in our region, couldn't afford to go to the doctor when we were sick many times, let alone dental care, or vision, or mental health. Those were simply not affordable to our working class family. And I frankly, I have vivid memories of my younger brother and my older sister having serious illnesses, and how stressed out my folks were trying to care for their kids. And how are we going to stretch our dollars to both pay our bills and these doctor bills that we weren't expecting, or how are we going to be able to go to the doctor at all? Now, that was 40 years ago. I'm 44 now, and still too many of our neighbors and their families cannot go to the doctor when they're sick. Too many of our neighbors, and some of us, still are struggling with basic human needs like a decent roof over our head, access to childcare, and making ends meet. It doesn't have to be this way. Our nurses, our teachers, our elder care workers, our service workers, we've all got to be able to thrive here. Their health, our health and opportunity are directly linked to the health and well-being of our entire region. I believe we have the right to dream big, and we have the right to demand more of our elected officials in Lansing. We can and we have to do better for Northern Michigan. We deserve electeds who understand that our way of life, our economy, our sense of community, every part of that depends on people being able to get housing, childcare, and feel connected to this place. For too long, certain Lansing politicians have been kind of out of touch with the reality on the ground in our communities, the reality that many of us are living. They've put profit over people to maintain power. Frankly, they've tried to even suppress our voices and our votes, which we saw in 2020, and we're seeing with these voter suppression bills. And they've worked to pit us against each other, rural against urban, Black against white, young against old, rich against poor, to keep us distracted so that we don't demand better for our families. I'm running to leverage my experience as an elected official at the local level, as somebody rooted in very much in the working class and rooted in my community, to represent the 103rd, because we need our state representative to prioritize working people, to prioritize our communities, and to have our back, as Sonia and Nadia just talked about, whether it's kitchen table issues like healthcare, childcare, broadband, mental health, or huge, big picture existential threats like climate change, protecting our environment, protecting our right to vote, protecting democracy itself. So finally, I'm running because I want someone in Lansing who will have my back and my neighbor's back, who will wake up every single morning laser focused on how to serve and make life better for all of us, because that's what we deserve. I'm Betsy Cofia. I'm running for the 103rd. I'm asking for your vote, your support, and let's go win.
Thank you, Betsy. Thank you
You're
very
welcome.
much.
I'm going to drop in the chat some direct ways to get involved. There is a launch next Tuesday evening at 7 p.m. It'll be virtual to be COVID safe. And there's also an ActBlue link and a volunteer, way to get involved. So I will put those in the chat right now. Thank you for the opportunity, and I'm so happy to be here.
Great. Thank you very much. And as Betsy said, information to get involved will be or is in the chat. So moving right along now, we have some breaking news. And here to deliver it is Michigan Representative Terry Sabo from Muskegon. Terry?
Thank you, Jim. Good morning, everybody. Man, I'll tell you what, following up behind Betsy here is not the most enviable task, it appears, for me today. Yeah, that's very exciting, Betsy, and I certainly look forward to helping you out wherever I can in our travels. So fantastic job, and I'm excited for you. But for those of you that don't know me, and that's what I'm going to really concentrate on this morning in the little bit of time that I have, is again, my name is Terry Sabo. I am the current state representative for the current 92nd district, which encompasses Greater Muskegon, and I am in my third term in the state house now. But I want to go back. I was born in and raised in a small rural community in Muskegon County on the east side, one of those townships that was cut out of Muskegon County for the Senate race, Ravenna Township. I was born and raised on a small beef farm. I worked when I got into high school. I worked at a local dairy farm, which is a very large dairy farm at the time. And I used to get up, not every morning, but a lot of mornings I'd be up and milking cows at 3 o'clock in the morning. And then I'd come home at 7 o'clock. I'd take a quick shower, and then I'd go to school where I could get some sleep. So it was quite a high school experience for me. But then after I got out, I went into the military, and I served 4 years in the United States Air Force. I came back home, and I was always been had a public safety background, aspired to be a police officer growing up. I did that, and then after a few years, I went over to the fire department. So in total, I spent over 25 years working in police and fire departments in Muskegon County before I finally retired in 2016 from Muskegon Heights Fire Department. But something was happening along the way there, and I was getting more and more interested in local politics. And there was some stuff that was happening at the state level in 2010 that really affected me, and it really inspired me to start getting more involved in local government. And so in 2011, I was appointed to the Muskegon County Road Commission, and I served there for only a year and a half. And then in 2012, I got this kind of a crazy idea that I wanted to run for county commissioner in Muskegon. Now, the bad part is that the district that I lived in was predominantly a Republican district. And the incumbent there was a longtime incumbent. He had served at the time 5 terms, 2-year terms, 5 2-year terms. But in the previous 4 terms, nobody ran against him because he was considered to be unbeatable. So I decided I was going to go ahead and try it, not knowing I'd never run for office in my life, and I ended up winning. So I won by a substantial amount by just getting out there and knocking on doors, meeting people. And then in 2014, I was reelected as a county commissioner, and then my peers elected me as the chair of the county board of Muskegon. And then in 2016, because of term limits, our House seat was open, and I was, really pushed to run for that, which I did, and here I am. So I'm excited to see these new lines finally being drawn and finalized. We think, anyways. And just so everybody knows that I have decided that I really enjoy serving my home. I enjoy serving the lakeshore, working for working people. With kitchen table issues has always been the top priority for me. And so just this past Friday, it has become official that I am a candidate now for the state Senate. And I look forward to hopefully representing all of you from Benzie County, part of Manistee, Mason, Oceana, and Muskegon. So I feel that having that experience of have to see what our decisions are in Lansing, how that affects local governments, but also local people right there in their own homes. How does that affect everybody? I think that's something that I really bring to the table. So I'm going to stop right there. You will definitely be hearing more from me in the very near future. And we'll be rolling out our campaign announcement really more in a social media form, probably at the very beginning of the week, but it is official though as of this past Friday.
Terry, Representative Sabo, thank you so much. Let's give him a round of hand waving and wild applause.
Thank you.
Thank you. Sir, we will have you back soon, and for a longer presentation. We look forward to doing everything we can to help you turn that state house around, because it really needs some turning around.
Well, Jim, and for all the Benzie Dems here, first of all, it's incredible how many people I saw on here. 76 people I'm seeing right now. That blows my mind. But listen, this is going to take everybody, and I'm really going to need your help, each and every one of you up in Benzie County and beyond, to get through this. This is a big area to cover, basically about 2 hours from south to north to cover the district. So again, we're going to need your help. We'll be reaching out to you in the near future as to how you can do that, and look forward to meeting each and every one of you.
Thank you very much, sir. If you can, any kind of contact information you want to put in the chat, people will use it. So thank you very much.
Jim, if I could, one more little quick thing here.
Sure.
One thing I forgot to mention, and I think it's very important to mention, I know I told you this on the phone, this is going to be a very close district. This is going to be, I already know it's one of probably 7 that the Senate Democrats are eyeing up as potential winnable seats outside of what we already know are going to be winnable. And I always say that this could be number 20. And what I mean by number 20 is that 19 seats in the state Senate gives us a tie. 20 gives us a majority. And I really think that the Senate Dems are going to get the call out of the Muskegon to Benzie Lakeshore on election night to say, we've got number 20 right here, and we're taking control of the state Senate. The numbers, just so you know, the numbers, we're getting varying reports. One of the numbers we initially had was that the seat was based at about a 48% Dem base, and Gretchen Whitmer won the district in 2018 with 52%. Now the redistricting commission is saying that they're giving it a Dem base of 50.2. So the bottom line is we see that this is going to be really close. I'm not just doing this to have my name on the ballot so that we've got a Democrat name. I'm telling you, I'm doing this because I plan on winning. So I'll leave it with that, Jim, and I promise I won't talk anymore.
Okay, thanks a lot. It's great to have you with us. We look forward to having you back. And thank you for all your service.
Thank you.
All right, moving right along now. A union organizer, a human rights activist, a workforce policy expert, a green energy entrepreneur, Congressman Andy Levin has spent his career fighting for an equitable and inclusive future for all people. He's brought that fight to Congress as a first-term representative from the Detroit area. During the Granholm administration, he helped build the No Work Left Behind initiative that helped more than 160,000 Michiganders get training and get good jobs during that horrible 2008 recession. Then he got very involved in the governor's Green Jobs Initiative and helped create some very innovative financing methods that are now helping Michigan businesses invest in efficiency and clean energy and profit from it far more quickly. That's when I had the pleasure and honor, really, of meeting Andy Levin when he was barnstorming Northern Michigan, going to county commission meeting to county commission meeting to get local counties to pass the enabling legislation so that local businesses could take out these really inexpensive loans and save money on energy. So I'll just add that he's helped a wide variety of business owners save 17 or invest $17 million in efficiency efforts around Michigan. Mr. Levin was born in Detroit, raised in Berkeley. He lives with his wife Mary and four children in Bloomfield Township. And it's with great pleasure I introduce someone I haven't talked to in quite a while. I'm so happy to see here, Representative Andy Levin. Andy?
Hi, Jim. Thank you so much for having me. My campaign manager is Nicole Beatty, and I'm pretending I'm her evidently right now. The way your meeting's set up, I'm not allowed to rename myself. So, but anyway, it's great to see you. I have to give you a little update because the Lean and Green Michigan program that I set up, and, it was a labor of love and it took years. And when I went to Congress after I won in 2018, I obviously left that behind, but it's still going strong. Today, I don't know how many jurisdictions are part of it, but I know it represents close to the counties and whatnot that are in it, comprise close to 75% of all Michiganders. And they've passed $100 million and maybe $150 million of clean energy projects financed.
Wow.
And they'll hit it took them until from our first one, I don't know when our first one closed in 2015 or something, till into 2021 to get to 100 million. I think they'll get to 200 million in months. Wow. And every one of these projects is a business or a nonprofit doing an energy makeover of their building, a warehouse, a factory, a hotel, an office building, doesn't matter what it is, and it's totally technology agnostic. Whatever saves them electricity, saves them natural gas, saves them propane, saves them water, or produces their own renewable energy can be financed. And every project reduces our carbon footprint. And it's the kind of government policy, because we had to pass a statute at the state, and then the counties have to join the program, that can really drive change. And, I'm a proponent of huge government investments in transforming our absolutely as quickly as we can to deal with the existential threat to life on Earth as we know it, the overheating of the planet that we've been responsible for, mostly the United States and a few other advanced industrialized countries since the dawn of the Industrial Revolution. But it's going to take private capital too, and a lot of it. And so that's what this does. It unleashes private capital to transform our buildings. So that's how I met Jim Dalzo. And then I went off to Congress and, sticking on the theme of clean energy, I've focused a tremendous amount of my attention on clean energy. I'm really proud that my Electric Vehicle Freedom Act, or EV Freedom Act, has gained so much momentum. I introduced it in my first term. Now I'm in my second term. And it's now been endorsed by a bunch of unions, a bunch of companies, utilities, auto companies, a lot of the EV sector. And it's a big reason why happily we got a significant number, billions of dollars of investment into electric vehicles in the Infrastructure and Jobs Act that we passed in November. It's, that's just one piece of it. With Senator Warren, I introduced the Build Green Act, which would electrify transportation much more broadly. City fleets, school buses, mass transit, city buses, all manner of transportation. We need to get carbon out of the transportation sector and every other sector as quickly as we can. So there's that bill. Then there's the Buy Green Act, which also is a partnership with Senator Warren. And that bill helps not only the federal government, but state and local governments with procurement, so they can quickly transition to green, made in America, union built products. And then there's my bills on investments, what's called ESG investing, basically investing on environmental, social, and governance factors. Because right now, pension funds don't even have to offer, or, these 401k plans where you get to pick, they don't even have to offer you a plan where you can invest your money according to sustainability criteria, which, by the way, those kind of investments have been outperforming the market. So in terms of fiduciary responsibility, they've got to help you get a good return, right? It's better, but at least give you the choice so you can invest your values and not invest in Exxon or cigarettes or guns or whatever they may have in there, but just on companies that are environmentally sound, climate change sound, don't have human rights violations in their supply chains, treat their workers right, give them the freedom to organize, and have clean governance of the corporation. And then with Senator Sherrod Brown, there's my bill to help energy workers in the transition to renewable energy. Look, we're Democrats, right? We've got to drive the change. Okay, within our family, right? We've got our environmental movement that's driving for the change. The labor movement is more divided, and they are a crucial part of our coalition. And after all, if you're a worker at a refinery, or you're a worker on a pipeline, or you're a coal miner and a union member, don't tell me, oh, go put up solar panels, that'll be fine. Those jobs, I mean, honestly speaking, those jobs aren't union jobs, and they're not well-paying jobs. These people are making $30, $40 an hour with another amount similarly in benefits. And they won it through hard-fought organizing over generations. So Senator Brown's in my bill says, okay, we need you on the side of the rapid transition to a carbon-free economy. So if you lose your job at a refinery, a coal mine, whatever, we're going to hold you harmless in terms of wages. We're going to give you a bridge to retirement, healthcare you're going to have, and you're going to have whatever job training you need, and your kids are going to have free college. Boom. Those people go from being most opposed to it to really supportive of it. And we've been working to get some money for this in the Build Back Better plan. But y'all, we've got to take care of the most affected workers if we want to rocket towards this transition. Let me just, Jim, I don't know how much time we have. I'd rather hear what people want to talk about and answer their questions. So let me just hit on a couple things that are happening. Number one, voting rights, voter suppression, purging people from voting rolls, making it hard to use absentee ballots, making it harder to register, allowing state legislatures to overturn election results if they don't feel like it. This kind of thing is sweeping the states, including Michigan, but Georgia, Iowa, all over the country, Texas, and it's a disgrace. And what the Republican Party needs to do, if they want to win elections, is have the better argument and win the most votes, not try to tailor the electorate to their victory by eliminating young people, students, people of color, and so forth from the voting rolls. So we have passed multiple pieces of legislation in the House. And the Senate has not acted. And now Senator Schumer said, okay, I'm going to force the issue. And Kirsten Sinema said, I won't I won't vote for any changes in the filibuster. I'm going to give you my personal opinion. I think Chuck Schumer, and you all know that we passed a bill just Thursday that because of it's a bill. It was actually a bill about NASA that had already gone back and forth between the House and Senate. So we took that, emptied out the shell, put in both Manchin's own voting rights bill and the John Lewis Voting Rights Advancement Act together. And we've passed it and sent it to the Senate. Because it goes back and forth, there's no vote on cloture about starting debate. It's immediately up for debate. So then they would filibuster it, right? My word to Chuck Schumer is put the damn bill on the floor and make them do a talking filibuster and go for 12 hours, 24 hours, 36 hours, 72 hours, and let Kirsten Sinema or Manchin, whoever say, oh, that's not enough debate. You're allowing them to debate for days, right? If the point of the filibuster is to allow debate, we've got to force this issue. So I'm for, whatever creative tactics it takes to get that moving and then build back better. I don't know what to tell you all. I'm a proud whip of the Progressive Caucus. I think we were right that unless we passed the infrastructure bill and Build Back Better together, Build Back Better might never pass. And we said that once, we said that twice. The third time we said it, the president himself came to us and met with us. We were in a room. He called us on the phone. He was on Pramila Jayapal's cell phone. I held up one of those mics in the hearing rooms to her, the speaker on her phone so that we could all hear it. It was crazy. But he said, look, pass the infrastructure bill. Let's get an agreement from the more conservative Dems about that in the House that they will vote for Build Back Better. And anyway, we got that done. We passed Build Back Better. It would be transformational and improve our chances to win in places like Benzie County. I want to hear from you all what impact it had on poor and working class families and middle class families to get $250 and $300 checks every month for their kids. $300 a month for kids under 6, $250 a month for kids 6 to 17. All the things we did. Now that's been suspended. Today is the day that the 15th of the month is the day people were getting their checks. December 15th was the last check. Build Back Better continues it. The Senate's held it up. I don't see how we're supposed to win in November if we're not getting the goods to the people who are suffering in this pandemic. So Build Back Better is, I'm still fighting for it. And I think that really the only way we're going to win on these things is to organize statewide, to build pressure statewide. And, your county is really a lot more like a lot of America where this fight is happening than Oakland County or Macomb County. They're, obviously my area is important too, but we have to be able to get the word out to people on these things and to build understanding. I'll tell you, I don't know what you all have done, and I'm curious about this, but one thing I've done in my district is revitalize the idea of precinct delegates. And, we only had there's 800 slots for Democratic precinct delegates in my congressional district. I think there were less than 300 of the slots filled. So I said, we're going to fill every one of those slots. And in 2020, we increased the number of precinct delegates by 50% from 2018 to 2020. And we're continuing to march on. I made pretty fancy pins that you get if you're a precinct delegate. And we send out monthly communications to them. And we poll them and what do you need? And the point is to have an army of Democrats everywhere. So in every precinct, because there's not just one delegate per precinct, often there's 2, 3, 4. They work as a team to get the word out to that community, that neighborhood, whatever that precinct is. And then they also get the information in and share it with the county commissioner, the state rep, the state senator, the congressperson. And it's a great way to activate the base. So I'm curious about your tactics there. Anyway, I am really bullish on 2022. I know people are saying, oh, we may lose the House, we may lose the Senate. I think with this redistricting in Michigan, we have a real chance to pick up the state Senate. That would be huge. We have a chance to pick up the state House of Representatives, and we're definitely going to duke it out to win 7 out of 13 of the congressional districts and help keep the House of Representatives. Friends, I feel like from personal experience, having gone through January 6th, in the Capitol, and then seeing how for the whole year afterwards, instead of the Republican Party saying, oh my God, parts of our base just almost killed democracy altogether. We have a reckoning, we have to change. They've doubled down. Most Republicans believe the big lie. And we really, if we lose in 2022 and 2024, I really feel like this is Germany in the early 30s. We could lose our democracy altogether. And that's just a fact. So we're all in this fight. And Benzie County, I'm counting on you to do your part to send Jocelyn Benson back, to send Dana Nessel back, to send Gretchen Whitmer back to Lansing, and to help us win up and down the ticket, because our democracy is really at stake. So thanks for your partnership. Happy to answer any questions or hear your words of wisdom. It's great to be with you. Thanks, Jim. I don't know, are you moderating or who's?
Yeah, I guess I am. Thank you very much for those words. If you have a question, please ask it. Unmute and ask it. We'll just do it that way. Someone have a question?
Sure.
Thompson.
Andy?
Yes, sir.
Andy, hi, Steve Thompson. I just wanted to ask you, do you think there is any chance at all before midterm elections that Biden and Harris will fulfill their campaign promise and end cannabis prohibition? This would certainly help us to get more people to vote Democrat this November.
Well, I think that so I'm a big proponent of ending, and the war on drugs has been a big disaster, and cannabis should simply not, it should be delisted. I mean, there's no question. But legislation to push this has we haven't been able to get it passed. We haven't even been able to get the Senate and the House fully to pass the Safe Banking Act, which just gives cannabis businesses, full access to banking services. I'm also for the MORE Act, which would completely decriminalize marijuana and help the communities that have been disproportionately impacted by the war against marijuana and drugs to have a better stake in it. And I can tell you all in Metro Detroit, the black entrepreneurs and business people and other businesses of color have not had even a proportional share of the opportunity, the immense opportunity, that comes with legal marijuana. So I'm a big proponent of it. I don't see a lot of energy about this coming from the White House, but a lot of us are fighting really hard for it in Congress, and it does require legal changes, legislative changes to us. That'd be the best way to do it anyway.
Thank you. Barry Hahn, you had a question?
Yeah, we made some noise here in Benzie County with our precinct delegates before the election, but I'm just curious what you'd say a good plan is for a rough calendar. Sorry, my alarm went off. A rough calendar for 2022. What should we be doing in the precinct delegate world right now? What are our priorities, I guess?
Well, so you can start getting people to fill out affidavits to agree to do it. I think what is really important is, sometimes people think like, oh, that's a lot of work, or I'm not sure, or I don't like, to go door to door or some aspect of it. And so I really think that it's great to create some materials about what a precinct delegate is and what the responsibilities are, and to really recruit people. Now, I'm a little ignorant about your circumstances, but in our area, there are very few precincts that have one delegate. You have slots for multiples. And that's a great thing to me, because I could say, oh, well, Dulzo likes to walk, but I don't, or I can't, I'm not able to walk. So I'll call people, I'll email people. There's room for everyone, right? Write postcards. So, build the list. I'll be the data person, of all all the precinct delegates in our, I mean, all the Democratic voters in our area. So I think, and I'll tell you something that I do. We have, like, after we passed the American Rescue Plan, we created a door hanger that said, you know, brought to you by Democrats, not one Republican for it. And it, you know, it showed what the benefits were that were coming to people from the American Rescue Plan. And we provided it to the precinct delegates so they could go distribute it to their Democratic voters. So I think there's a lot of great stuff you could do, and it makes everything more fun and people feel involved, and it builds the muscle of the party.
Thank you. Thank you.
Sure.
Okay, we can take another question here. Gerard Grabowski has a question here. What are some specific ways Dems can reach the working class and the underemployed? What are specific platforms or policies that will bring in this demographic?
Thanks, Gerard. Well, now you're talking my language. I mean, you know, I spent most of my career as a union organizer, and also I worked, you know, I ran the workforce system for the state. So I dealt with, you know, how to help unemployed people so much, and underemployed people, of which there's way more than anybody recognizes. And that's never counted properly. You know, people who are like involuntary part-timers and that kind of thing. So anyway, here's my thing. Number one, the freedom to form unions and bargain collectively. This country has not passed any, like, I'm not one paragraph of legislation, not one sentence, not a comma, the Congress of the United States, that makes it easier for workers to form unions and bargain collectively since the Wagner Act was passed in 1935. 1935, that's the National Labor Relations Act, our basic law. And Congress has done multiple things to make it worse, like the Taft-Hartley amendments in 1947 and the Landrum-Griffin bill in 59. And the courts have made it harder. The administrative agencies, the states, all the employers misclassify you. They say you're an independent contractor. You know, they say they make people temp workers. They say you don't have any rights. So the Protecting the Right to Organize Act, or the PRO Act, to me, is my number one piece of legislation. Because it would lead to a renaissance of unions in this country. And just like these Starbucks are organizing in Buffalo, you know, and all kinds of people are organizing right now around the country, that it would actually let people do it, which they, you know, employers have so much power over them. So that's huge. Secondly, we've got to pass, you know, the Raise the Wage Act and raise the wage everywhere to $15 an hour by 2025, and eliminate sub-minimum wages for tip workers and youth workers and workers with disabilities. $15 an hour, if you work full time, is you know, well, let me put it to you this way. Even in Joe Manchin's state, the lowest, very lowest metropolitan area happens to be in West Virginia. And if we pass this $15 an hour bill, even there in 2025, when it would be fully up to $15 an hour, if there were two parents and two kids, and both parents had full-time jobs making $15 an hour, they still wouldn't have enough money to meet their budget. So don't tell me this is just for Chicago or LA or San Francisco or something. Workers everywhere need to make at least $15 an hour just to get by. So I think that's huge. Also, you know, the child tax credit thing we did, Gerard, is huge. I think we've got to bring that back. I mean, that was like, if you have 3 kids, if you had, you know, an infant, a 2-year-old and a 4-year-old, that's $900 a month coming to you, not at tax time in a complicated way, direct deposit into your account or a check. And I think we have to do a lot more than that. I think we have to help seniors. I think we have to raise the Social Security benefits, you know, so seniors have a better situation. And I think we have to talk about transformational policies that would really make life better for people, like Medicare for all. We are the, you know, the only country, the only wealthy country where millions of people don't have any access to health care. And then we say, oh, well, we're going to cover all COVID care. And then, you know, they say, oh, well, you don't quite have COVID and you've been in the hospital. That's $86,000 you owe. I mean, this is outrageous. Every person should have health care from when they're born to when they die. and we all ought to pay for it together. We already spend almost twice as much as other countries on healthcare. And it's not like America's the greatest country. Our health outcomes are the number one. They're not even close, and they're going in reverse. Whether you want to talk about maternal mortality, and especially for Black moms, but even for all moms, if you want to talk about life expectancy, on so many measures, our healthcare system doesn't add up. So I think about talking about healthcare for everybody, better pensions for everybody, minimum wages that you can actually live on, and the freedom to form unions and bargain collectively. That's the kind of stuff to me that get the unemployed, the underemployed, and the working people, the poor and working class people of this country to turn out and vote in their own economic interest and not worry about some, social issues that don't really help them.
Thanks for that. Got another question here. This one is from Kathy Ralston, our former chair here a few years ago. She says, you mentioned your advocacy for Majority Leader Schumer putting both voting bills on the Senate floor and to have a talking filibuster. Yes, would you, let's see, this just moved here. Would that not require a vote for a rule change first? And if a talking filibuster was required, and it could happen, I wholeheartedly agree with you that it would make a huge difference to disable the phone-in filibuster.
Well, so so let me just say that, I've debated the filibuster robustly with my beloved Uncle Carl, who
I'll bet.
served you all, and he passed away on July 29th or 31st, whatever. And we miss him a lot, but he was a kind of defender of the filibuster. And I really recommend to you all, if you haven't read it or seen it, read Adam Gentelson's book, Kill Switch. It is an outstanding account of how devastatingly bad the filibuster is, and how it doesn't play any big role in the Senate being the greatest deliberative body. The only thing the filibuster was used for in its first many decades, it was only used for one thing: to keep Black people from being full and equal citizens of this country. Honest to God, it was a segregationist created it, and it was just used for Jim Crow. So, for example, you tell me, what are the great bills, the great debates they had in the Senate in the 20th century that really changed things for Americans? Let me throw out a few. The National Labor Relations Act that I was just talking about, Social Security, Medicare, Medicaid, right? Those are some good ones, right? Big ones. Not one of those bills was filibustered. Not one. The great debates the Senate has had didn't need a filibuster. The founding fathers specifically considered having supermajority requirements and rejected it. But they created this rule by accident, and it's gone along, and it's ground the Senate to a halt. So one thing that Uncle Carl insisted to me, and I think he was very knowledgeable, is that it does not require a rule change. That Senator Schumer, as majority leader, can take this bill to the floor and saying, I'm calling for a vote. And if a senator says I'm filibustering, he could say, come here to this podium, you have the floor. And if he ever falls asleep, as long as there's someone in the chair, they could bang the gavel and say, thank you for that filibuster. It's over because you're sleeping. And now the vote, we will hold the vote at 10 a.m. tomorrow, whatever. So come on, as Americans, let's test this damn thing. How sick are we of them just like having some intern send an email and stopping our government from functioning? It's outrageous. It's so anti-democratic, on top of all the other ways the Senate is undemocratic, right? So, I don't think it requires a rule change, and I'm talking about it for this one instance. If he wants to institute them for everything, I think that's interesting and worth talking about. Of course, I'm for abolishing the filibuster, but there are many, many ways. There are many carve-outs to the filibuster. So let me just ask you this. You remember recently we dealt with the debt ceiling, right? The Republicans had been filibustering it. Obviously, Mitch McConnell can't say the Democrats have to deal with this alone, and we're also going to filibuster it. So in the end, if he really wanted to force it so that only Democrats voted to raise the debt ceiling and extend it, he had to agree. So they made a carve out to the filibuster to pass that. You notice that happened, right? So it's happened so many times on so many issues. And if they want to do a carve out, so for voting rights or for democracy or, something, that's fine with me. But so if Sinema's saying no, she won't do a carve out, I say, fine. Drive through the filibuster like a great football running play where you say, you know what? We need 2 yards to get the first down. And we're just putting our damn head down and blocking and running through the defense to get those yards. And that's what we have to do with filibuster right now on voting rights, in my opinion.
Thank you, sir. We have a question from Generation Z. Go ahead.
Hi, I'm getting my camera. There we go. I'm 18 this year, and I want to know what your coalition is going to do to engage my generation, Generation Z, because we're all prepared to get involved and need support with our mental health. And I wanted to see what your plans are.
All right. Can I ask you a question back?
Yeah.
I tell you a little story. So one of the amazing things that happened to me when my first term was that actually the we were debating HR1, our big expansive voting rights bill that we already passed last Congress and this Congress that Senator Manchin said was too big. But anyway, we passed it in the House, right? So we were having amendments to it. And I got to the floor and was expected to vote on an amendment that I hadn't known about. I was really mad at my staff. I was like, this is a big, this is a big thing. And here's what it was. Should 16-year-olds be allowed to vote? Well, and so I'll tell you my little story. Well, first you tell me what do you think I should have done?
I mean, personally, as a young person that was very involved in politics from a young age, I would have been through the roof happy if I could have voted it when I was.
Don't you think it would transform high school civics classes? All of a sudden, it would be like, it would matter so much, right? Well, so I'm thinking, dang. And Ayanna Pressley had proposed it, and I'm very close to her. But anyway, I'm going to vote. If it's wrong, I'm going to vote against it, right? If it's right. And so I went down to the floor very early, and there were a bunch of sort of senior African-American women talking together, and I don't remember who it was. I said to them, well, what do you think about this? And one of them said to me, Andy, I don't think so, because look how hard we fought to have our 16 and 17-year-olds not treated as adults in the criminal justice system. So maybe if 16 and 17-year-olds could vote, they'd be, that would be an excuse to treat them as adults of the criminal justice system. I said, dang, that's kind of a good argument. But I still felt like it was the right thing to do. So I went up to John Lewis, and he always wanted you to call him John, but I couldn't do it. I said, Mr. Lewis, how are you thinking to vote on this? And he said, Andy, how are you going to vote? I said, dang, I wanted him to tell me. So I said, well, I think it would revitalize our democracy. And I think I'm going to vote for it. He said, well, then I'm going to vote for it too. I said, anyway, we did both vote for it, but Sonia, we didn't get very many votes. Of course, it didn't pass. So one thing is I had something called Democracy Summer. And I don't know if you got a candidate for Congress, I really encourage you to get that candidate to participate in the DCCC's Democracy Summer program. It gets, like, I had, I think 20 young people, high school and college students in my district last summer, and they knocked doors, they made phone calls, and they talked about the issues they cared about. So that's something and you have to do it kind of soon because there's a deadline coming up, and probably, I don't know, but I tell you, Jamie Raskin, who started it, would love to have a candidate participate, even if they're not an incumbent. Okay, so that's one thing. The other thing is, I think we have to tackle the issues that young people care about. And I mean, I assume climate change is a huge one. It is for me, it is for the young people in my life. And so I'm one of I don't know if there's 12 of us who support every Green New Deal bill in the whole Congress. There's only 12 of us that has been proposed. like Green New Deal for cities. You know, there's a bunch of different ones for different kind of aspects. And I just think we have to tackle climate change head on. I really encourage you to
Can
make
I
that
jump in
simple.
and ask a question?
Yeah, please.
So Sonia, what she mentioned was mental health. And one of the things you noted was like getting out there and helping. The problem we have and that I see is that they need support to actually go to school. One of her really good friends just literally couldn't complete her because of the pandemic. So her saying like, what is the coalition? What are some of the talking points maybe that you have to say, hey, we want not just to get them to help vote, but to say to them, here's how we're going to help you. Because with climate change and the pandemic and the loss of democracy, I think a lot of kids between 16 and 28 have put their heads down and said, hey, we're supposed to be standing on your shoulders. But
Well,
you're like
actually, now that you say that, it's really interesting because I see as a young person, a lot of my peers are getting tired because we're not seeing the support from older people. And so I guess what my question is what's some support that you could help us with so we could in turn support you?
Well, so one thing that I'm in favor of is forgiving $50,000 of student debt for everybody, or at least get in the game with 10,000, you know, Biden. Now that may not affect you, but a lot of, you know, older young people who, you know, have been going to college and have a lot of student debt. But the other thing is, I think that, you know, this pandemic has been so devastating, and we've appropriated a lot of funds for mental health, but a lot of states, including state legislatures, including in Michigan, have held up a lot of the funds. And Sonia, we sent this money to the states to help you. And I don't know if anybody saw the big headline, and I mean, it's in today's Free Press, must be all, oh, the budget people in Michigan are so happy because they have such a huge surplus. Well, guess what? A lot of that is money that we sent from Congress in multiple bills during a pandemic to get out there and help on housing, on the schools and the colleges, and straight up mental health, you know, services, you know, help for renters, people not to be thrown out of their houses. So, I mean, I think we have a lot more support in, you know, counselors in schools, mental health services in colleges and universities too, and forgiving student debt, and really putting people straight to work. I know, you know, so we have, you know, an idea that we passed in Build Back Better called the climate, you know, the Climate Corps, to put a ton of young people right out there doing projects with each other together in a setting as a bunch of young people trying to save this planet. So I think there's a lot of things we could do to help young people with support, be able to afford education. I mean, look, let me tell you my biggest frustration about Build Back Better, which I think goes straight to what you're talking about. My bill, the America's College Promise Act, was adopted by President Biden. I mean, can you imagine? It was so cool. You know, you propose a bill, it's like, what a big deal. And then he says, I want free community college. My bill would make community college free, tuition and fee free in every state that would pay a quarter of it. The feds would pay 3/4, and do a similar thing for historically Black colleges, universities, tribal colleges, and so forth. Well, Joe Manchin wouldn't have it. So it didn't get into Build Back Better. And now they're not even passing the damn thing. But I think this kind of thing of providing more health services, more mental health services, free college, more training opportunities, and really doing more to, you know, on climate change and to save this planet are all things that I hope would be helpful. All right, Jim, I don't know if there's one more question, but I was supposed to be somewhere at 11. So
if you don't mind, I'd like to ask one more question.
Please, yes.
Okay, this is from John Helga, who is the chair of the Manistee Party just to the south of us. And he says—
You let him in, eh?
Yeah, we did. He spies and takes all our good ideas. It's great. We have a great candidate in Michigan Congressional District 1, Dr. Bob Lorenzer, who's trying hard to defeat the incumbent Jack Bergman. Will you be able to help Dr. Bob Lawrencer win in 2022? Is there anything you can do? Up here, he's a fantastic candidate. He really is. And I don't think the DCCC is aware of him enough yet.
Well, I'm happy to help. Excuse me. Sadly, very, very sadly for me personally, I find myself in a primary against a friend. And so I've never been in a situation like that before. I'm super unhappy about it. But, you know, we asked for a citizen commission to do the redistricting regardless of incumbents' interests, and they did. And so they kind of threw the two of us in together. So anyway, I'm running super hard to stick around. I'm running on my record as the champion of the working people of this country, the leading champion for the PRO Act, and so, you know, so many other bills to lift up the working people and make college free and affordable and all that kind of stuff, and all my climate change work and so forth. But you know, if I survive my primary anyway, after it's over, I'm happy to help. And I really believe in the first district. Your current congressman is an insurrectionist. He voted to nullify the votes of millions of his fellow Americans. I think he voted for both the Arizona and Pennsylvania. Is that right? You know, I mean, that to me, look, the people who came in with mace and poles and bear spray and attacked, you know, brutalized Capitol Police and hunted for us and all that. Obviously, those people need to be held accountable. But you tell me, who is more accountable? Somebody like that who definitely did something wrong, or a person elected by over 700,000 Americans and took an oath to uphold the Constitution of the United States, who walks back into that sacred chamber, the House floor, crunching across broken glass and freshly swabbed up blood in the middle of the night after people tried to overthrow our democracy for the first time since the War of 1812 and trashed our capital with the intention of stopping the peaceful transfer of power. You walk back in, we resume our duty, which is supposed to be a ceremonial thing, a celebration of democracy, no matter what party wins. The point of democracy is you have an election, and then if you lose, you say, dang, I'm going to do better next time, but now it's the other person's turn. And they voted to nullify the votes of millions of their fellow Americans. I can never forget that. None of you should ever forget it. It was a betrayal of their oath of office. It was a betrayal of our Constitution. And if they can succeed in that, our democracy's over. Our 232-year experiment with democracy is over. If they can just say, we don't like that outcome, we're going to pick a different one. So we need to get rid of Jack Bergman. And if this doctor is what the doctor ordered, let's go. I'm all in and I'm glad to help.
Great. Thank you.
Thank you all.
Okay.
Really appreciate you.
Thank you, Representative.
I'm really heartened that there's so many people. Somebody said 70 some people. That was 70 some windows open, right? Many of them with 2 and some 3 people. So you all are amazing. You gave me a lot of encouragement today. Thanks a lot. Take care.
Great. You gave us encouragement too. Thanks, Representative Levin. Okay, he's gone in a flash. There it is, folks. Anything else anybody wants to tell the group before we call it quits here?
Great meeting.
Glad you
Good job, Jim.
Yeah, okay.
Jim,
See everybody again.
hi. Jim, I would just like to say that I was the first one who was supposed to write the LTE this week, and I did it. And the topic was secure MI vote. So I sent it to the Record Patriot, but I didn't send it to other papers. I don't know if I should send it to more or just stick with one.
Oh, send it to all of them.
Okay.
No reason not to.
Okay.
Any other things anybody wants to say or do before we get going here? We have our next meeting, 3rd Saturday of February. We haven't figured out the guest yet, but it will be awesome.
Everybody remember how to save the chat? Go down to the 3 dots in the lower right corner and click Save Chat.
I just wanted to pop in really quick, you guys, because when Betsy asked Nadia and Sonia to help her launch her campaign, she was really happy about the support that the Benzie kids got from the Benzie Dems for the Voting Ambassadors program. So I really want to shine a little bit of light on Aubrey and on Barry and on those kids, because that story is getting around. So I just wanted to say thanks to everybody, because you see Nadia and Sonia feel pretty comfortable speaking up. And I think that that could be something that could be repeatable with a program like the Voting Ambassadors. So go, Aubrey.
Amen. It was nice having
Aubrey.
you girls here today. Thank you.
Great. We will do that. We will do that. Okay, I guess we'll call it here. That's it. Thank you all for being here. 75 people showing up. I'm blown away. That's great.
Yeah,
Thank you.
we haven't had those numbers in a while, you guys. Like our October, November meetings were about 45, so we almost doubled it. So that's great.
Yeah, that's great.
It was more than 75 because there were 2 people on some of the screens.
Okay, great. Okay, whatever we can do to juice the numbers. What I'm really concerned about is that y'all stay involved. Please do what you can. And I want to remind you something Barack Obama said when he was organizing people to try to win back in 2008 and then again in 2012. He said, please get involved, and it's okay to do stuff that makes you feel uncomfortable. In fact, you probably need to do stuff that makes you feel uncomfortable if we're all going to win. We've all got to push beyond our borders and try new things and get out there. We really, really need your help. We need you to stay with us. Thank you for being here today. Get outside and enjoy the sunshine if you dress up warm first. And we'll be back here in 1 month. So thank you very, very much.
Thank you. Great
Tim.
meeting.
Thank you.
Stay safe, everyone, and smoke them if you got them.
Good advice. Stay well, everybody.
Don't let anybody
Tim.
sneeze on you.
I have a question. Can we get a transcript? There are so many parts to this, both the chat and in the body of this meeting, that I couldn't keep a record of. And I wasn't able to do what I sometimes can do, which is make a file of the full transcript. Or maybe I just didn't get to it.
Yeah, I will look and see if there is one here. And if I have one, I will send it to you.
All right, well, the thing under the captioning, there's a full transcript option. And before you end, there's an option to save it, but I'm not sure. It's not beautiful. It has the time on every line, but it has everything.
Also, I'm recording the meeting, and I don't know, Jim, if anybody is converting those to YouTubes anymore, but I've got a very long video of the whole meeting.
Yeah, okay. We are doing that. Jamie, who was helping us, came down with COVID just before Christmas and wasn't able to help us. She said she's going to be training us very soon, and this will be happening. So yeah, that will definitely be recorded and put on YouTube so people can watch it again. Okay, anything else, boys and girls?
Great meeting.
Thank you.
Yeah, really great meeting. Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Over and over and out.